It was a kind of magic to observe nature, the only thing we could do against the darkness of not knowing. But we did it quite well. We tried 1,000,000 times to understand what we observed, the spark of knowledge, and we were able to use tools to make vital things such as fire. We created technology. We started to combine ideas, materials, useful devices, and how-tos. For thousands of years, we combined all our technological advances in a scientific, functional, safe, and practical way. Engineering helped us to do more and better, building civilizations and improving our lives. We developed science through centuries, observing nature, studying, calculating, rating, and observing once again. And we are still doing it, and we will continue to do so. The light of creation is a kind of magic that has always been with us. Some call it spirit, some call it emotion, a different way to see and transmit. Or perhaps all of these things at the same time. This is art. From the very beginning, we combined art with science and technology in order to create, innovate, fascinate, celebrate, and enjoy. The language of numbers guided us across the globe, allowed us to understand time and distance, and to develop the powerful digital society in which we live. There are scientists and thinkers who say that mathematics is a beautiful kind of poetry. So here we are again. Looking ahead, the energy of genius will carry us forward. As we look at During the summer and fall of 1938, this was the scenery of one of the crucial episodes of the Spanish Civil War. The Battle of the Ebro. The central government offensive turned the regions of Terra Alta and the Ebro's riverbank into a dark episode of war and devastation, of lives, towns, and landscapes which would never be the same again. The field was key to the progression of the battle. The Republican Army took advantage of the terrain and used cliffs, mountains, and valleys as natural trenches. The River Ebro and the mountains of Caballos and Pandos became witnesses of the brutality of the battle. In the Ebro lands, the Republic had everything at risk. General Vicente Rojo designed a surprise attack, forcing Franco to send the majority of his army towards Catalonia, diverting it from the conquest of Valencia. If the offensive was successful, the Republic could force him to negotiate peace, or at least extend the war. If the war was prolonged, they could hope for its inclusion in a European conflict, already presaged by Hitler's consecutive attacks in the north of the continent. The Terra Alta and the Ebro's riverbank have always been an eminently agricultural territory. Its dry cultivation system forms a landscape of vineyards, cereal, almond and olive trees, with a few notes of fruit trees. This type of cultivation hasn't changed much since the beginning of the past century, but the agriculture activity of the people who still work in the fields has certainly changed. The Civil War and the Battle of the Ebro deeply transformed the image of most towns. The first and most obvious impact was the exodus of its inhabitants, escaping from the battle, some of which would never return. Soon before the outbreak of the battle, between March and April, many families set out on a long journey towards Barcelona to avoid the Franquist troops. Many of their journeys would be extended as far as France. After the end of the Civil War, the dictatorship articulated a wide political campaign of commemoration and propaganda to transmit and praise Francoist ideology and the unity of the Spanish nation. The symbology of the only political party occupied public spaces with eagles, arrows, yokes, crosses, monuments, and political slogans idolizing the figure of their leader, Franco, caudillo of Spain by the grace of God. The places where the Civil War showed its cruelest side were now filled with commemorative monuments in memory of the Francoist soldiers, prohibiting any expression of mourning or vindication of the fallen Republicans. The boost of recovery projects, historic space museum proliferation, and the creation of interpretation centers allow people to get to know better parts of that recently discovered past. This landscape helps to preserve our memory. These vestiges and symbolic spaces have great value. They help society to remember and learn from the past so that such atrocities never happen again.
You're a bad girl. You know you are a bad girl. You make me mad, girl, with the way you're telling lies.